Let's chat about traditional Korean knots or Maedeup as I make a Maedeup bracelet. I made a previous video about norige, inspired by the norige the 300 girls wear in K-pop Demon Hunters, and many commenters asked me to also talk about the bracelet Rumi gives Jinu, since it had a similarly styled knot. Both the bracelet and the norige are made with a traditional Korean knotting craft called Maedeup that has been around for more than 3,000 years in Korea. Hi, if you don't know who I am, I'm Kat Cho, the author of romantic fantasies based on Korean culture and mythology, as well as some K-pop rom-coms. The names of the Maedeup differ by region and were mainly inspired by items from everyday life and nature like flowers and insects. The first knot I made is called a dore Maedeup, or a double connection. It's the most basic form of knot and is often used to connect other knots or to fix or finish a knot. This second knot I'm making is called a sengjok Maedeup, which translates to a ginger knot. Maedeup are made from dohue, or braided string. The most common materials used to tie knots are silk thread, mulberry, hemp, and wool, with silk thread being the most used. The string I'm using is satin nylon made to imitate silk thread. In the Joseon dynasty, masters of making this type of thread were called dohue jang. Sometimes a tassel will be attached to the bottom of a Maedeup, which is called a sul, just like you see on a norige. Maedeup is derived from the practice of using knots in fishing nets and agricultural tools. Maedeup dates back to the Three Kingdoms of Korea. Originally, it was used around the waist to hold axes and swords during hunting and fishing, but it later evolved into a more decorative art. But it wasn't just an ornament, it was considered a talisman of happiness and peace. Maedeup were used as finishing touches to accessories, clothing, and musical instruments. During the Joseon dynasty, Maedeup became a symbol of high social status, dignity, and prestige. The royal court employed dozens of craftspeople to make them. A master of the art is called a Maedeupjang, who is designated as a national heritage in Korea. The first Maedeupjang was Jang Yun-soo, who is designated as a master in 1968. This central knot that I'm making now is called a gukwa Maedeup, or a chrysanthemum knot. It symbolizes good luck and happiness, which is pretty sweet when you think about how Rumi gave it as a gift to Jinu. Just like many aspects of Korean culture, the art of Maedeup was almost lost in the early 20th century during the occupation. However, it's now been preserved as a national intangible cultural heritage by the Korean government. And now the Maedeup has gone through some modern adaptations as accessories to jewelry, handbags, and even phones. And that's how something like this Maedeup bracelet was born. Okay? That's my overview of the history of the Maedeup. If there are any aspects of Korean culture you'd like me to discuss, then definitely let me know in the comments.